Knowing you're a projector is just the first piece of the puzzle. And look, I get it. When I first came to human design and I found out that I was a projector, I was like, well, this makes so much sense. I looked on all the Instagram pages and Googled it, and this is before ChatGPT, right? I found out as much information as I could about projectors, and so much of it resonated, but it was quite general. And even at the general level, I was like, this system has something. But this is your reminder that knowing you're a projector is just the first piece. And you could probably tell that by looking at this chart that you've seen of yourself. I know when I first came to human design, a friend of mine, I was in a massive burnout, and my friend said, I know you're in a burnout. I think knowing your human design would help. And I said, I'm not interested. Little did I know she was a manifester, and she persisted. So I ended up creating my chart. I said to her, what does it mean? She said, I have no idea. I was like, thank you. I now have to go through my own journey of finding out what this all means through different studies. And it's been a very interesting journey for sure. But the things that I've uncovered, and there is a slight annoyance, which is around general advice for projectors. Because yes, you're a projector, but there are so many differences between projectors. And this is what I love about human design. It's the science of differentiation. It's designed to show you how unique you are. And if you've just stopped at projector, you're missing the point, and you're missing so many other validating points within your chart. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Rebecca. I'm an IHCS certified human design analyst and living your design guide. And I've spoken to over 1,000 people at this point, many of which are projectors, probably about 800 of which are projectors. So I know a thing or two about projector charts. And a very common thing I get is projectors coming to me for a reading. And they'll tell me some advice they've been told about projectors. I've read that projectors shouldn't exercise and projectors should only eat like this and projectors need to sleep 12 hours a day. And listen, there is this general advice going around, but you have the specifics within your chart. It's like you have the literal roadmap. I think someone I know called it an instruction manual, a little bit like how you would buy a piece of clothing and it'd be like silk or something. And the little label inside would be like, wash at 40 degrees or like whatever it is, right? Wash at this temperature. I'm from London. You probably work in Fahrenheit in the US, so I can't use Celsius. Anyway, so there are multiple ways of learning about yourself, and we have very specific points. And the truth of the situation is, there isn't blanket advice for projectors, other than the fact that we're designed to wait for the invitation, sure, and follow your authority, which is, again, not specific until you find out what your authority is. Some projectors are designed to exercise a lot. Some projectors are designed to have quite a bit of energy, and some of them are not. Some of us are designed to be very strategic, and others are not. Some of us are designed to be really emotionally aware, and others, well, we're learning about it, but we're not. There are lots of misconceptions and generalizations that need squashing. And one of my favorite ones is around exercise. There are certain points that we can pinpoint in your chart to see whether you are consistent or inconsistent, whether you do well with routines, whether you need to be more inconsistent and have no routine. And these aren't things that you have to follow to the book. These are things to experiment with, and they seem to be pretty accurate from other people's experimentation. There are certain things that you can see within the chart. It's like, you're designed to exercise on a daily basis and at least experiment with that. And it's happened multiple times where I have a projector come to me and they'll say, oh, I used to be a dancer and I used to dance every day. And I was getting a bit burnt out, but I think that was the stress of work. But when I found out as a projector, I made a change in my life and I decided that I need to change careers. So I quit my job and now I'm doing XYZ, and I don't really do much exercise because I was told projectors don't have energy. Oh my gosh. So how do you feel? Well, I feel quite depressed. hmm Now, why is that? Well, in this specific example, where we have, for example, a connection from the splenic to the root through a channel, a full channel from the splenic to the root, and we maybe have the fifth gate and other things like that in your chart, You're designed to release stress energy through movement, through well-being. And that may be daily, it may be hourly, it may be weekly. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to give you some points to experiment with. And the theory here, especially with someone with that type of chart, is if you're not exercising, that stress energy gets stuck in the root center. And that is known for causing depression. It's just a theory, right? Just experiment. It's not a diagnostic tool as such, but it's okay. So I said to her, well, why don't you start dancing again? I didn't know I had permission, she said. Well, human design is not a permission tool as such, you know? But there's a risk here if we're just using generalized advice for projectors. I've spoken before in other places around the different subtypes of projectors, and there is more difference between the subtypes of projectors than there are differences between the subtypes of generators. And that would be between the generator and a manifesting generator, which the whole world is talking about in human design. There is more difference between a mental projector and an emotional projector than there is between a manifesting generator and a generator. When you look into a chart, there is so much you can tell, and there are so many permissions that can be given from your chart, many of which you won't be able to discover through self-study. It's not like I can sit here and say, right, I'm now going to list a gazillion places where you can look to find out if you need exercise or not, or need to move, or da da da. No, because there's too much. There's so many different permissions available there. But this is this reminder that being a projector is the first piece. What being a projector means is, yeah, we're here to be guides. We're here to be recognized deeply. We're here to be seen for ourselves. We're here to receive invitations which signpost us in potential directions that we can go in. It means that we have a focused and absorbing aura, so we can sense people really well and we can see others more clearly than we see ourselves. We all have a very natural curiosity in other people and asking really great questions. But that's almost where it stops. You know, we feel success and bitterness, yeah. But in terms of us on a day-to-day basis, how much energy we have, how much work we can get done, our skill set, our mind, what we're here to communicate about, what we're driven by, that's very unique to the individual. There isn't one specific way a projector is designed to eat or to sleep or to move or to work. But there are great, you know, general affirmation tools to help us identify some of this. But I always encourage any client that comes to me to just embody some sense of curiosity, not taking things on face value. The human design system was never intended to be taken at face value, ever. It was always kind of taught to not trust anything we say because it's not proven. It's an experiment. So if something you are told, if you get a piece of advice about human design or general advice and it doesn't land, or you try it and it doesn't fit, instead of not trusting what doesn't feel right, become curious about that. Have some self-inquiry here. If you're a projector that's been told that you shouldn't exercise more than 10 seconds, you know, and you love to dance, like my other client I just told you about, and then you try to not dance because you're told not to, because of the general projector advice, and you feel low, that's good information to have. And also, you were given the wrong advice. So, if you're wanting to understand a little bit more about the specifics in your chart or the nuances within your chart, because it's not just projector, it's so much deeper than that, so much more nuanced through subtype, through authority, through your different gates, through different definitions, through your not self, your true self, your purpose, everything, then you're going to need a session. You're going to need a one-on-one reading. There's no amount of self-study that can get you this synthesized level of understanding of yourself. And if you're going to understand yourself and you can already see the benefit of human design and you feel validated and seen and recognized, then a reading is just going to go deeper into that. And that is something that we offer at the Projector Movement with myself. These readings are so projector specialized at this point. I find it much easier to read for a projector than I do any other type because I've seen so many. I'm so familiar with all of the different questions that projectors ask and all the different places that we get tripped up in. So these are areas where you can ask questions to someone that knows and not have to guess on your own or figure it out. So there is the option to book on for human design chart readings and further sessions to understand yourself, to understand these different elements in different ways, and to continue on your life journey. So I hope to see you soon. These are IHDS certified, where you can sit there, ask questions, get true information about yourself and your chart to have these good data points to experiment with and to step away from the general advice. You've done the first step, which is stepping away from the general human advice, no longer following generator advice. There's deeper layers here. There are other things to experiment with. And if you're ready for that, then book on for a one-on-one session. I'd love to see you there. And I'd love to help you understand yourself through your chart. I look forward to seeing you there.